From tie-ins with other Pixar films to time dilation, these theories will surely send a shiver down your spine. I'm your host Youssef, and these are 10 scary Monsters Inc. theories that will terrify you. Make sure to subscribe and ring that bell to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Anyways, let's open a door. Number 10, Jack Jack. This theory is wild and kind of fun. Pixar has a history of throwing in Easter eggs from all around their films into their newest projects. One of the most famous is A113. A113 is an animator's inside joke. It refers to a classroom number at the California Institute of the Arts where many of the Pixar folks got their start. The number has worked its way into nearly every Pixar movie, from the license plate on Andy's SUV in the Toy Story series, to a Roman numeral in Brave, to a movie marquee in Incredibles 2. Speaking of the Incredibles franchise, the first number on the list is referring to Jack Jack. In the Incredibles 2, another Pixar film, baby Jack Jack Parr has some cool superpowers and can teleport to other dimensions. During his teleportation, a fan theory goes, Jack Jack visited characters from Monsters Inc. At one point in Monsters Inc., a monster says, "A kid flew over me and blasted a car with his laser vision." One of Jack Jack's powers is laser vision. This is kinda creepy because I feel like Jack Jack could legitimately pull a Homelander from The Boys and laser all of the monsters in half. Let's just hope he doesn't get into the monster world. Number 9, time moves slower in the monster universe. Redditor Adam Simon noted that time might be experienced differently in the Monsters Inc. universe. The theorist points to several different facts to back up his idea. Among them, Boo's voice is more mature sounding at the end of the film than in its beginning. Sully seems surprised to see Boo at the end of the movie, and we as the audience do not get to see what she looks like. And if monsters can slow time, it explains why they always elude parents. This could lead to many questions. How long do monsters stay in university if time moves slower for them? Could you imagine doing 8 years because time moves slower? I don't think I'd survive in that world. Number 8, toys are sentient. One theorist explained his reasoning for his theory about toys being sentient in the Monsters universe. It all apparently shows itself in the opening sequence, which introduces us to the basic mechanics of how monsters scare children. The monster, Mr. Bile, sneaks into a child's room and attempts to scare him, but the kid wakes up and sees him. We see that Mr. Bile is actually more scared of the kid than vice versa, and he trips and falls for comedic effect. This of course is a simulation, a demonstration of how not to scare a kid, so that the movie can cut to Sully, our main character, who is the best scarer at Monsters Incorporated. The simulation we just watched was at the factory, and it's our setup for everything that happens next in the movie. Something that has bugged a lot of people, including myself, in a major goof that transpires during the simulation. When Mr. Bile walks in, we get a clear shot of the room's layout and where everything is located. The soccer ball is under the bed, the toy train and its tracks are at the foot of the bed, and one of the books near the window hangs over the edge. But as the scene changes, everything moves around. The soccer ball inexplicably moves to the side of the bed. It's in a totally different location, and it eventually shows up again at the foot of the bed where the train tracks have disappeared. Instead, there's a bunch of jacks in its place. Mr. Bile steps back on the soccer ball and falls on the jacks like we're watching a better version of Home Alone 3. We even see that the books on the toy box have moved a little bit, but they return to their original spot toward the end of the scene. Could this be continuity errors, or are the toys in the universe really alive? Number 7, Boo is the witch from Brave. This one is actually really big. This fan theory has gained a lot of traction, and with good reason. It states that Boo in Monsters Inc. is the old witch in the Pixar film Brave. Brave is set in Scotland during the Dark Ages, and the old witch is old, so time travel is required for this theory to fly. But according to John Negroni, author of the Pixar theory, the signs are all there. The keys to the witch's magic are will-o'-the-wisps, which she uses to employ her magical abilities. Negroni wrote, "The theory is that Boo discovered a way to use doors to travel through time on her own, possibly by developing magic on her own. She probably went back in time to the Dark Ages to get more magic from the will-o'-the-wisps. And why would she do that? To find her childhood friend Sully." Further fuel for this theory, in Brave, a wood carving of Sully is visible in the witch's workshop. Number 6, the monsters don't think humans are dangerous. Just as some fans believe there is ample evidence of humans being perilous to monsters, other theories point to the exact opposite. It's only a ruse established by the Child Detection Agency to keep the children of the world from getting scared. Redditor CyberHusky58 noted that when Randall and Waternoose's plot is exposed, Agent Number 1, who is undercover as Roz from the CDA, enters the scene. Not only is she not at all concerned about the presence of a human, but she lets Sully spend time with Boo. So perhaps humans are not unsafe in the least, and the CDA is only trying to protect the human children from becoming frightened. And of course, denying kids their screams means the monsters would lose their power source, so win-win for the humans? But if they really aren't scared of the humans and that info could get out, the whole corporation could be shut down, leading to a major power outage in the monsters universe. I kind of want to see a dystopian apocalypse movie with Sully and Mike as the main characters now. Imagine that. Number 5, the monsters travel back in time to scare the kids. So there are no more humans on Earth or something. Perhaps they traveled to space, and Earth was abandoned, or they all nuked themselves into oblivion. What do the monsters do now? Are they supposed to just revert back to the monster Stone Age and scare each other for power? Well, this theory says no siree. This theory, posited by John Negroni in his book The Pixar Theory, states that the monsters actually travel back in time to scare the kids. That way, no matter what the humans do to doom themselves or move themselves off of Earth, the monsters will always have their source of power. Number 4, Monstropolis is the afterlife for the forgotten imaginary friends mentioned in Inside Out. In Inside Out, we learn that everything forgotten gets dropped into the memory dump, then disappears forever. Bing Bong, Riley's imaginary friend, has his wagon thrown into the memory dump, but where does it end up? Redditor Ice Metal Punk theorized that the monsters in Monster Inc. are actually the imaginary friends that human kids forgot as they grew up. The creatures had to learn to live together and form a functioning society. That would make everything much, much darker. It would also give the monsters a motive other than power to scare the kids. Perhaps they want revenge for the kids abandoning them and forgetting all about them. It also would make sense why all of the monsters are odd looking. Some of them look pretty friendly. Number 3, time moves faster in the monsters universe. There's a theory that time moves faster in the monsters world. Redditor Ali, Gali laid out the case. First, the monsters can scare hundreds of kids in a single time zone at the same time, which seems to imply that they can accomplish several hours worth of work in what feels like a short span to humans. Second, in the chase scene, Sully and Mike enter the human world and dart from closet to closet within just a few different houses. But Randall's place between doors and time passing outside the factory seems to suggest that these events are happening over a while. Also, banishment to the human world appears to be a significant fear for the monsters, perhaps because time moves so slowly for them in the human realm. Number 2, the monsters evolved from the animals that took over the world after WALL-E. This idea, part of John Negroni's theory of a unified Pixar universe, suggests that the monsters in Monsters Inc. were the natural production of evolution, developing from the animals that took over the planet after humans deserted it in the events that preceded the plot of WALL-E. Monsters Inc. then actually takes place in a super distant future, long after what transpires in WALL-E. This is somewhat plausible if you also agree with the theory that they travel back in time to scare the kids. Number 1, the monsters saw the plague. At first, it seems like the monsters fear a war scenario with the humans, where contamination by the alien microbes of the human world could wipe them out. But Sully and Mike's immunity to Boo seems to discredit this. However, if the doors are able to travel across time, it's entirely possible that at some point, one or several monsters traveled back to the 14th century on a scare mission. For instance, if they visited Europe around 1348, they could have entered the bedroom of a highly infectious victim of the plague, possibly even a room stacked with plague-ridden corpses. If the infection spread to them, even hairy beasts would be right to be petrified. After all, experiencing huge blood-filled boils, intense pain, fever, diarrhea, and passing isn't anyone's idea of fun. With that risk factor, you'd think they'd seek an alternative energy source rather than using only children's screams. Thanks for watching. Those were 10 Scary Monsters Inc. theories that will terrify you. Let us know a theory you guys have in the comments below. Make sure to leave a like if you liked, and I hope you have a scary day.